You don't have a ton of things in common with God, but there is one thing. You speak. So does he. God spoke light into existence with his words. I wonder what you could speak into existence with your words this week. I wonder what kind of love you could speak into your marriage that feels like it's in neutral. I wonder what kind of courage you could speak into the heart of a child who's hurting. I wonder what kind of peace you could speak into your broken friendship. What kind of hope you could speak into your own weary soul. I want you to know that the most powerful words you're going to speak this week is probably not going to be on a stage or a conference call or closing the deal with a client that you want. The most powerful words you're going to speak is probably just with one or two people listening, maybe zero. It's totally possible that the most powerful sentence you'll say this week is a thoughtful text message that you send to a friend who's walking through the valley of the shadow of death. It's the apology email that you finally get the courage to send. It's the whispered prayers through tears in the middle of a dark night. Powerful words aren't just for preachers who stand behind pulpits. They're for parents who stand next to bunk beds. Speak life into their kids. For spouses who share hopes and dreams during pillow talk, and not criticism. For teenagers who stand up to bullies. Stand up for the uncool kids. Your tongue is so small, but so powerful. Your tongue is telling a story.
It's your boy Jay Jeezy Jenkins.
We are the Breakfast Club. We got a special guest,
one of the biggest preachers in the world,
Bishop T.D. Jakes. Welcome.
We here, and boy, am I excited about this one.
Jeezy and Jakes, that's kind of cool, isn't it?
Like that.
Don't drop the mic. The power of your words can change the world.
I think the torch is passing. Leadership torches, vision torches, business torches, in the arts, in ministry, in every area, the torch is passing, as it always does, especially as we see the next generation evolving and community needs being thrust in our face, and we keep waiting on somebody to come and fix it. And then suddenly you realize that we are the people that we've been waiting on.
Man, thank you, Bishop.
That's
you know,
right.
my spiritual, emotional, and mental health. Thank you.
And I know what it is to have leadership potential and be starving for mentorship.
Right.
Somebody you can talk to, somebody you can trust, somebody who knows what they're talking about.
Right.
All of that is so desperately needed. The preceding generation doesn't always tell the next generation what they learned. Mm-hmm. So you have to go for yourself. There's no way I can push you up and not go up with you, because I think it's the young people's turn. It's your turn. It's your time. It's your season. If we could have a conversation, we could build an apartment building. We could build a mall. If we could build a mall, we could build a school. If we could build a school, we could start a college. If we could start a college, we could change the world.
Hey,
Bishop
don't
T.D.
drop
Jakes,
the mic.
Get it right now, and we appreciate you for joining us.
All right, welcome to Don't Drop the Mic Masterclass. I am Dr. Wiley White Jr., who will be facilitating this masterclass for about 13 to 14 weeks. This is a part of our church, Destiny Church project called Keep Your Guard Up. And that refers to in the last days or the end times, how to keep your guard up in these last days. And so throughout the whole week, 7 days a week, we are going to be talking on specific subjects each week, the same subject per day. Well, for instance, today Next Monday, it will be Don't Drop the Mic, and I'm going to explain what that is really about and how does that fit into our theme and our project of Keep Your Guard Up in the End Times. Then on Tuesdays, every Tuesday, there is a prayer. We talk about how to pray, given by the model prayer that is given to us by none other than Jesus Christ in Matthew 6. And so that'll be head by Minister Sheila Felder. And then on Wednesday at noon, how do I live an authentic Christian life? I'm going to be talking about how to keep the faith, and guard the faith during the end times. And then on Thursday, I will talk about how to continue to build up your faith, how to keep your faith up during the end times. And then we have Minister Cynthia Talbot will be coming with words of inspiration just to build us up through after having a tough week, and as we go into the weekend. And then on Saturday, Gavin the Maestro, one-man band, is coming back by popular demand. He'll be on at 6 o'clock on Saturday, getting his gospel go-go music on. It's been everybody's been requesting and asking him to come back, so he's coming back on Saturdays, and so be there for that. And then Sunday, I'm coming back again, so you need to be praying for me. Yes, that's Granny of Beverly Hills, and we're going to be talking about how to guard the faith from the book of Jude. We're going through the whole book of Jude, so all of this has everything to do with keeping your guard up as it concerns the last days and the end times. Now, let's get ready to get in here, because I know, hello, Pam, good to see you. Now, we're coming into a bad night. We're starting this first week for this particular subject. And this week alone, or this Monday is alone, we have NBA playoffs up against us. They just kicked off, and we're kicking off as well. So we're going to try to be about 45 minutes if possible. So men, I'll get you to your game as soon as possible. And thank you, Pam. I see you inviting your children. All right. You want to get your children in on this, go ahead. I'm giving you a little time to get invited and share, especially this. This is going to be powerful on Mondays for the next generation. And we're also dealing with one of my favorite TV shows, The American Dream, or American something. I just remember I like the sport part of it, and that starts tonight. And here in Chesterfield County, a storm is rolling. And so normally the storms that roll in on us gets kind of tough, and it interferes with effective live streaming. So All American, that's the name of my TV show. My wife just told me that's what it was. So anyway, you can record the basketball game, because for us ministers or what have you, I may have any guests that we're going to come in on this live in a few minutes. I'm going to put up a link where you can come in and have discussion with us. All right, so we're going to try to keep it to about 45 minutes. Hopefully we won't have to do a part two. But it's going to be for 13 minutes. Now I have some students or mentees coming in. I have one that's here now. I'm going to bring her up, and this is Minister Felder. God bless you.
Good evening.
For being with us on today. Did you hear all that I was trying to say?
I'm hearing you.
Okay, so we're gonna. She's in as a student. We have another one of our ministers who I'm mentoring. We have 7 ministers in our ministry, and 2 of them were going to be sitting in this class as students per se, to ask some of the questions that you probably wouldn't want to ask, or I don't know. But I'm a teacher. I like to see people, so they're going to make it possible for me to see. And if they know the answer to the questions, they'll answer. But other than that, you can comment by writing, or once we get midway in, I'm going to put in a link where you can just come in the actual studio. It's two steps You can get in right into the studio, and you don't have to put video up, or you can come in with audio, however you want to do it. Now, this is Miss Talbert. Miss Talbert, why are you out there like that? What is wrong with you? I see you right here, Minister Talbert. Why are you not in the studio? Then is okay. Can you send me a message or something? Tell me what's going on before we get started. The link is in your email if you didn't know. So go ahead and do that. We're gonna go ahead and get started before the storm knocks us out. All right. Okay. Again, so we're studying "Don't Drop the Mic," and for starters, let me say that this is not just for ministers. This is for mothers, fathers, grandfathers, grandmothers, teachers, preachers, Sunday school teachers, anybody that can act. This is it. Anyone that can open their mouth and words come out of your mouth, as Tyler Perry said. What's the woman he played, Minister Felder?
Who?
Tyler Perry. What's the woman? I can't think of it.
My dear.
Medea, as Medea would say, the words that are coming out of my mouth. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Now, here's the thing. If you can talk, this is for you. This is for you. And this message, this series was geared towards Medea. Thank you, Miss Pam. Pam is a Medea herself. Bless her heart. But anyway, so this is a lesson for anyone that can talk or communicate. But the goal is to be effective communicators. Now, why would that fit our project of keeping your guard up in the last days or the end time? Good evening, Miss Bishop. The reason why that is important is because in these last days, you want to be able to communicate effectively to your family members, to your children, grandchildren, or if you have a platform that you're on. There's two things that God has really shown that shown me. We know there's a lot of signs, and if you're like me, you've heard about last days coming since you was little. But there are two specific things that are happening in the world today that definitely signifies that we are in our last days. Number one is that the Lord said that he will make sure that the world hears his gospel. The world, every country, there wouldn't be no man left without an excuse. And so, all right, I see you, Cynthia. I'll come get you in just a second. So, I mean, Minister Talbert, I am sorry to put your glasses. I see you. So there would be no one left without excuse. Now, this is the only time in history that we've been able to have such a far reach around the world. Thank God for social media. All right. Even us, Destiny Church, we are reaching at least 15 countries. But everyone would be without excuse. So we've never seen this before. That's a greater work than Jesus. Jesus said, "You do greater works than I would do." And Jesus' only greater work that he didn't do was getting out to more people, because of course they had horse and donkey. And so that work is being accomplished. So we've never seen that before. Have you ever seen that before, Minister Felder?
Haven't seen it before. You're correct.
All right. Okay. And the second thing, where we're studying in the book of Jude, Jude said there will be a great falling away of the church. Never before has we've lost seemingly 2 generations from the church. I've never seen that before. I'm only, 55, but church was the thing. Church was the thing forever. Even in slavery time, Church was the best thing back then. So those are two reasons that I believe that we're close to the end time. So we want to be able to communicate very effectively. So that is the reason for God giving this lesson to me, and for us to be doing it 7 days a week for the next 13 weeks. We're going to be going full blast. All right. I'm going to bring up our other minister now. Just a second. Okay. Let's see if this works for us. Hey.
Hello.
How are you? There you go.
I'm good. How are you?
We're good. Better late than never.
Right.
Glad you love us. You're safe.
I am safe.
Good. All right. So this is Minister Tarbert on my, I don't know which way y'all looking, my left or right. Who's that? No, that's Minister Felder there. And that is Minister Tarbert over here. I will put their names up, but it's clustered right now. So all right. Let me turn my speaker down. I'm glad I got started.
Hey, Mr. Felder.
Hi, Mr. Torber. How are you?
Okay.
I'm good.
So ladies,
Right.
again, they are standing in as students per se, mentors. We have brother Julius from where's Julius from? Nairobi, Kenya, who's a minister in training, and he's there in Kenya, whom we hope to be using once he completes some trainings that I have lined up. And a shout out to also Pastor Patrick Peterkin, Reverend Arthur George, Reverend Carol Biddle Curry, Reverend Sheila Felder, Reverend Cynthia Talbot, Reverend Carolyn Pratt Rivers. Hopefully I hadn't missed nobody. All right. Okay. All right. Now, let me clear up something. Is that you, Tawana, on the Destiny Church? If that's you, if you could look up in your right-hand corner, click on the 3 dots, and you should have the option to come up as Destiny Church or Tawana, and click on Tawana so I can see who I'm talking to. All right. Okay, ladies, let's jump in here with both feet. All right. I said all that other stuff to say earlier that the world has changed in the church. In Acts 8, it talks about how the church was persecuted and they scattered abroad. Some went into Judea, some went into Samaria, but they were scattered abroad. And I feel like, again, of course, the church have gone through persecution for many years. And of course, this last year in 2020 with the pandemic can be looked at as a persecution upon the church, where, again, we were scattered out in the sense of leaving the 4 walls, and also churches that were not online were forced online to get the word out even the more. So as we look into the communication piece, as we're scattered abroad, going abroad to spread the gospel, or to spread your legacy, or to be able to communicate in order for you to get your next job. So all of this is about the communication piece. So there's a couple of meanings that come out of "don't drop the mic." Behind the phrase "don't drop the mic," dropping the mic normally is a moment where you drop it intentionally. In most cases, we drop it intentionally, just like Kobe Bryant did when he retired, and he dropped it and said, "Mamba out." Now that's an endearment of achievement, or I've done the darn thing, something to that extent, accomplishment. Our favorite president, President Obama, dropped the mic when he left office. He dropped it and said, "Obama out. I did the darn thing." So he left just like that. So that's the meaning behind the title of Bishop Jake's book, "Dropping the Mic," But the metaphor he takes from it is the don't drop the mic. It's not a snub against what Obama or Kobe did, but he's just using the metaphor differently in the sense that you don't want to drop the mic, but in a real sense, you can fumble the mic if you don't learn to communicate more effectively. So fumbling is an opportunity to step up and share something of value. And all of us, every one of you that's listening and will be listening in the week to come, are valuable. And your experiences are valuable, the bad and the good. And you want to be able to communicate it effectively. So it's a picture of a fumbling the mic is a picture of a wasted opportunity as a communicator. So our goal here every Monday is to equip you so that you can experience an opportunity to effectively communicate that others will understand. To make the most of your mic, whether it's at home, at work, in your organization, in your community, meetings, in your town hall meetings. If you have we have town halls here. Some of you guys have city halls where you have a city. Then your city hall meetings, even any type of meetings that you would be affiliated with, and especially your online. If you're going to be online, and I know we've done a lot of lives and all that and whatnot, but when we get on here, let's get on here to make sense so others can understand whatever it is that you're putting out. Let's make it make sense. And so as we head into our first little question that I have for the students, as I will, let me qualify myself. There's no wrong answer that Minister Felder or Minister Tarbert can give you. I'm wrong or right answer. I'm carrying the weight on this. And I carry the weight on my shoulders with the experience of a master's in education and of course my doctorate in ministry. So I have quite a few years of study into communicating. Not saying that I'm the best communicator at all, but I try to handle what I can. I served as a teacher in the public schools and on the college level. And I'll officially be retired next week. Friday. That is already here. Amen. Okay. So with that said, we're going to go ahead with the first question that I have for them. How would Mr. Tauber, how would you describe the concept of communication? And what is it? What is it for you? In your own words.
Communication for me is it takes two, and communication takes two or more, and it's one person trying to convey to one or more people what they know, feel, think, or know about a situation.
Okay. All right.
Or the truth about a situation. You have to convey a message that you want them to receive and to understand and to take and live by.
Okay. Good. The truth about a situation or lie about a situation. I'll prove my point in a minute. But it is it's between two people. All right, Minister Felder, what you think your concept of communication?
I agree with Minister Tarver, but I would say to transfer information to one person. It could be a person, a group, or a place to another. Just transferring your information effectively to a person, a group, or whoever your audience may be.
All right, these are some good students, man. I can't put them on the spot already. So I'm trying to catch them. Now, if you want to put in the chat with some of the answer to these questions, let me put the questions up that I have that will help you guys out. I'm sorry. Let's see here. Okay. All right, there we go. Okay, now my answer to that question, and I didn't say we're noting the material that TD Jakes has put out. That's what we are studying. So I need to let the public know that for copyright issues. So this is why it's a master class, and it's a master class based on TD Jakes, Bishop TD Jakes' material or his book. Of course, we've heard in my concept is now I understand it the more that life and death is in the tongue as we transfer communications one to another, as you both have said. And a good political, and this is not a political point, but I want to make the point as I spoke to, brought up the Minister Talbot there, where we communicate a truth of a thing for understanding, or we can communicate a lie to a thing for understanding. And that's where the concept, and this is a biblical concept, even though it's not a Bible study, but this is a biblical concept of life and death being in the power of how we communicate. And one of the illustrations I would give for as my concept is an example of how the world was communicated to a lie. The lie, well, not the world, Americans was communicated a lie that caused an insurrection of the most powerful government in all of the world. And so it's based on how you communicate something effectively, and which was done effectively. That's an illustration. Then also the communication of a lie as it concerns this virus, this pandemic that killed hundreds of thousands of people. And so, hold on, let me catch Pam there. Communication. Well, leave that up. I get to it. Let me finish my thought right quick. Thank you for helping. So we face this pandemic, and hundreds of thousands of citizens have been killed, American citizens I'm referring to, on a lie. And so whether you're communicating a lie or the truth, life is in that communication or death is in that communication. There's the truth of George Floyd murder. It was not necessarily communicated verbally, but nonverbal through the video, the many videos that went forth, communicated a truth that then give George Floyd life, but it gave life to those who would protest police brutality. It gave life to unite white and blacks that stood on to march. So, all right, let's I'm ready for Pam now. If we can go back to Pam. Thank y'all for the interaction. Communication to me is the key of understanding one another and knowing how another individual and individuals feel or view a situation. All right, Pam must be from Greenwood somewhere. Minister Tower, to an answer like that, I say. Okay, so Miss Joanne, all right. One need to listen while others be quiet. That's means of communication. We'll get into a little bit of that listening part of it, being a part of communication. Being that everyone is talking at the same time, no one is listening, and therefore communicating is poor to none. Exactly. And when I say that this is good for the family, this lesson that we're going to be doing every Monday, oh my God, I want to say, I'm going to be kind, but no, well, I've seen so many families. I can walk in a home. I come from a very, very, very quiet and reserved family. Um, but I can recall going into homes, and even now, if I go into homes and everybody's talking, they're not mad at each other. It's just the way they communicate. It bugs me out. Y'all, y'all ever experienced that? What kind of family you come from, Mr. Tarver? Hey, what was your background?
Well, my background is I grew up with my mom and dad. They
Mhm.
was married for 52 years before my dad passed 9 years ago. I think it's this year, 9 years. But communication, like communicating, we communicate like it was six of us in the home. So we communicated, but when my mom tried to get a point across, it was yelling. Like if she was mad, it was yelling. It wasn't no. So that's how she communicated that, hey, get what do what you need to do. And so sometimes when, not that it's effective, but it didn't hurt us because I learned a lot. I raised my children to be great children, grandchildren, great children. But to me, it's like it didn't. They don't have to do that. But so when I see my daughters doing differently, it makes me, yeah. So communication, we communicated, but my mom got a point across with yelling and screaming, and my dad got his point across by not saying nothing, just laying back, but to the side, pitting us up, all of us up to the side, like your mom, and all of that.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
yeah.
Okay. Mr. Felder,
Yes,
in
sir.
your own words, what makes communication effective? What do you think makes communication effective?
You first of all, you have to have an engaged listener. You got to have somebody listening, and to be an effective speaker, you can't be a monotone voice. You got to show emotions. You also got to observe emotions. You got to pay attention to your listeners, even with the comments, because we online. So a lot of times you got to pay attention to your comments. You got to be able to express yourself. I'm a hand person, I'm emotional, so all those things to me has to be effective to bring across, especially online, because you don't have an audience, so you got to be more in tune to what's going on, more in tune to whatever you bring in, whatever literature, whatever you bring in, you got to be in tune with it so that you can bring it to your listeners effectively, which you as effectively, but as like I said, you got to be attentive to whatever's going on with your audience so that you can bring your message clearly.
Okay. And that's true. Communication invites all the senses, and that's pretty much what you're saying, which is exactly right. It brings in all of your senses, from the human eye to the listening ear, as Miss Joanne was speaking of about listening. Um, um, Even the pause, or the rise of an eyebrow, a hint of a smile, all body language, all of that is a sense of communicating. And Bishop Jakes, um, he often uses the pause, very effective. If you ever watch him, um, it will just baritone, shoot out a point, and just before he gives you uh, the conclusion, the stinger of the point, he pauses. Or he also will give you a point that's a stinger, or I would say, high level interest point, and he'll pause and allow that to kind of settle before he moves on. So pausing, I just thought that was very unique in that, being a part of communication. All right, Minister Tarbert, when have you come across an example of effective communication in recent days?
Oh wow.
And were you affected by that moment?
Well, yes. Well, I could talk about my job. I could talk about
Yeah,
ministry. I could talk
anyone,
about either one
anyone.
of them.
Yes.
But I'll take my job. I'll take my job. So I'm on the phone out of the day. Probably on the phone 19 hours a day. That's what I do. I talk to people all day long. I tell the people, the jobs that we have, what the openings that we have, and they call me or I call them. A lot of times when they call me, the account manager recruiter, they're not sure of whether they want the job or not. And then I'm open with them about what the job consists of. I try to paint a picture for them. And I had somebody today say, no, ma'am, that's not what I thought it was. So, I declined. And it's okay because it was effective communication. I didn't want to sell them something and they show up at a job and they be like, what have I walked into? So I painted a picture just through my words, just through communicating with them. And they're hearing and understanding what I said.
So what about someone that's communicated to you? And
Someone
how did it
communicate to me?
Yeah.
Well, I get it all day too.
And while you thinking about that, I want to raise up Miss Pam. So y'all know my mom, and when she would raise her voice, but her look, yes, indeed. Now Pam lives in El Paso, Texas, but I knew her mother, and her mother's look. It would make you cringe. If you didn't get the message, you're gonna find out what the message was. You see that picture? That's her right there. You see that look? That's her mother right there. That same look. See, that's inside. Y'all have to know, right? But that look right there that's who she is. You're gonna get it. All right. So okay, back to you, Sister Tarver. So who have you heard affect the communication towards you?
Oh Lord, I get that all day, every day. Let me think about a particular one this week.
All right, I'll go to Mr. Felton.
Thank you. Let me think. Woo, thank you.
Have you had anyone recent affect the communication towards you, and I guess it could be the same, Mr. Tarver. That might be peeling back too far on that one, but I wanted to know, I guess the question is how did it affect you in that communication, if that? So you expressed that you felt proud that you had actually communicated well too.
I can tell you something. I'm sorry, but go ahead. Okay, so on Friday, I had a conversation. Thursday, I had a conversation with my boss. We have this account. And my job is where I learn my life lessons. Like I have, and it has made me so much better. And he was explaining to me, okay, coming saying, we got this big account. When you have 20 people, you can do this. But now we have 100. We have 100 people. You got to let people help you. You have to let people, let me bring people in.
We lost her. Mr. Fell, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
It was like, and I said, and my thing was not that I am like I guess they saw, supervisor or whatever, and authority or whatever. But to me, it was like I don't want my bosses to think I'm not doing my job. That's my thing. So I was like, okay, okay, chief. I said, I hear you, but I just don't want y'all to think I'm not doing my job. Because a lot of times when they delegate people to you, then people don't want to do their job. They put all the weight on those other people. I'll carry my own weight. I'm responsible for if whatever you put in my hands to do, I'm responsible for it. Even if I have assistants, So he's like, I see, I get that. We've been together 8 years. I get that. But let me, here's the deal. And And so when he said it, at first it stung. Like I'm like, no, but at the end it's like, it's okay. He know you work hard. If you hadn't proved you work hard in 8 years, he know you're going to hold your own ground, but allow help to help you.
So how did it make you feel? How did it affect you? Your moment?
At first, it made me feel like he think I can't do my job. Like I'm not sufficient enough.
How could he have how do you think it would have been more effective?
Well, I
was
think
it on your end of what you heard or didn't hear, or was it what he how he communicated?
I think all of it needed to be said. I think the first part needed all of it. Everything that happened needed to be said. Because I'm that person. You had to come, you gotta tell me, hey, okay, this is where we come from, this is where we at, and this is, let me understand. So all of it needed to happen. Every part of it. Then at the end, I got it. And I said, okay.
Okay.
So yeah. At first, because you always at first when somebody coming against you, it's just no matter what. If you think you're doing your great, somebody come against you, your defense mechanism gonna come up. Well, mine anyway. Because I don't sit back and just, take stuff what people tell me. But then when they, you especially when you trust them, their trust has been built over the years. And so then they came back and okay, this is where we are. I know you used to this point. We're not here anymore. We're not 20. We are at 100 something, So all of it needed to happen. So I can't say at first I'm defensive because you're attacking me. That's how I felt.
Okay. All right. Minister Felder,
Yes.
had you had an example that you've?
I think my example came up with school and my granddaughter bullying when I went and talked to the principal and left out school. I felt that the communication was effective. It was well handled. We sat down, we got on the same page about, this is something that won't happen on my watch. So when I left out, I felt like a positive communication had taken place because the problem was resolved and I left out. I wasn't angry. I wasn't as I walked in. Angry as a parent. So when I left out that I know that this situation won't take place on campus anymore.
All right. Good. Thank you. All right. I had a moment of effective communication. It was two actually. One was yesterday. My wife sings, of course, and her non-verbiage is something I've always tried to encourage her with. And yesterday when she was singing, man, she was going off. She was pointing at people. I saw her pointing at somebody. I said, "Good Lord!" And so the effect on me was just admiring the growth from because singing again is communication. If you open up your mouth and words are coming out of your mouth, it's communication. So to add nonverbal to that, and it goes back to what Minister Felder said earlier about even online, you can't just be, you got to add all of that in. So and then on Friday, I think it was Thursday, Coach K, and I shared this with our Bible study on Thursday, because Coach K retired of Duke University, retired from basketball, and that's my basketball team and my coach. And so he retired, and one of the things that stood out when he communicated with he had tears and actually very slow to speak. And as a coach, you're not generally slow at speaking at all, but he carefully let his words out, and they were kind of shaky. And he mentioned about how the opportunity he had, where people believed in him. When opportunity came, they believed in him. And so it affected me. It communicated to me, and it affected me by reaching out to my community and even my late father to thank those who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And so if you take it right, well, good communication, whether bad or good, it's going to leave some type of effect on you. So let's see what Pamela has here. I had been talking with my pastor at the church, and I attend here for over a year about some changes I wanted to make within the usher board, and he just kept answering me to get rid of me. Pam, you sure you want this up? Oh, okay, I'm gonna read it. You just like your mama. See that right there? So, but you, Pam, I'll usher here too.
Say it, Pam.
Yeah. So, and he just kept answering me to get rid of me. So on last week, I went to him respectfully but firmly and told him I was tired of having to keep talking to him about the changes I wanted. And he finally gave me the go ahead. I was shocked after so many times, but satisfied that it finally came to fruition. Great. So you got crowned usher twice. But on online at Destiny, and Lord must have knew something was going on. So and I guess now with that situation, sometimes a person can hear you and not hear you. And that's again where communication come in the listening. Um, yeah, so okay. She said it was fine. She gave us some answer. All right. So let's do this. All right. Well, we got about 10 more minutes, so we're gonna try to get done with this tonight. Um, all right. So again, uh if it's effective to reflect on again how a person responds, how a person listens, and just in all of that we just discussed, it's many different things that go into communication and how we receive it and how they receive it. It all affects us based on how it's received. And I didn't say this earlier. I named a few things how this lesson can help us in different fields of life, but also in relationship. And so oftentimes we are affected based on a communication, either verbal or nonverbal. Now, this is a living illustration of what I've been taught by Scripture. T.D. Jakes mentioned he was taught the same as I mentioned about death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. And so you want to make it, life. I don't know too many people like the death part of it. So this verse was true then when it was written, and it's true especially today. Words carry the power of life and death. And in fact, as Pam mentioned, that could have killed her if she had not went back and she left and didn't go back to the pastor. It may have killed her. Same with Minister Tarbert with her experience at work. If she didn't settle down and let the words gather, and she gather herself and accept the words for what they were, it could have killed her. And so words are just that powerful. So it's more powerful today. I ain't gonna say more powerful. I would say more applicable today than it has ever been in this world history, simply because of what I said early on about how the words are reaching across the world through social media platforms, through different ways that communication commands the power and the reach. Again, it dominates our public attention. Even if we're just doing a personal live, it commands our attention nowadays. And it causes for personal interaction. Very seldom that we go through life without personal interaction now. So the ability to share of ourselves offer application in career advancements, also in conflict resolution and establishing relationships, building an audience if you have a platform, and delivering a legacy to your children or the future generation, your grandchildren, and much more. So in short, the sharper our array of communication skills, the more successful we can become in virtually every endeavor that we take in life. With that said, when did you first? I go with Minister Felder. When did you first become aware of the power of words that would make a significant impact on a person?
When I became a mother.
Wow. Can you share an example? I mean, how that
When
is?
you talking to your kids, the tone, you address them. They'll tell you when they hurt their feelings. You tell them, what to do right and for wrong. So I think my effective communication became when I was a mother.
You know, now that you mention that, my I'll just be transparent. My mother and father were terrible. They were terrible. They would cut you in so many ways. But when they got older, they got a lot better. They were my best cheerleaders. But in my younger days, man, and Pam's mom and my mom were best friends, so they was like cut from the same cloth, unfortunately. But yeah, it was tough. It was tough, and to be honest, it especially with my father, because I guess being a boy and a man, the words mean a lot more. And because I probably almost, I wouldn't tell her. I hope my sister's not listening, but I ignore my mom because he did, I did too. So, but when he spoke, it kind of, if he said the wrong thing, it kind of. But what I had to learn though, I learned around 18, 19, 20, once I went away to the military, that they only knew but so much. They didn't have all this we have right now, this type of education to learn how to talk and that type of stuff. And they just knew what they knew.
Right.
And then I was like you, Minister Felder. Then I learned how to not talk to my kids for the most part.
Right.
Now they say some stuff they don't want to hear, but it's always good. All right. Mr. Tarver, when did you become aware of the power of words?
When I was a child, like you, my dad was a man of few words, which that's not good either. But my mom, it was like when you're different, even in school, in the school system now, when children are different, a lot of teachers discredit them or say but yeah, they're just different. And as being a teacher, you have to learn how to teach individually, even in a classroom. So, but I learned that as being a teacher as well. But so, I was told a lot of things. Uh, you not, because my siblings got better grades than I was, and that, so you ain't this, you're not this, you're not this, you're not smart, and all, just a lot of things. When I brought back grades, and when I started liking boys, oh, you this and not this, and I wasn't even doing nothing at the time.
I wasn't even
But I
doing
began to
this.
live those out. Because that's all I knew. Like I knew, that's who I began to think I was. Even though I knew different, I was so different from, like, I was just different, weird. But inside, but I never knew how to express it. So I began to live those things out. Thanks be to God. Like I said, we talk about the church, but I thank God, because though He intervened into all of those things, and He turned it. Like tried to tie trivia, so He turned it. Yeah. So I began was shaped by defective words and from childhood. And like you said, they didn't mean any harm. They just, said what they thought they saw. You didn't know nothing now. You just thought what you saw, or because you saw my grades. So I was, wasn't smart. In school, in college, I graduated with honors and just all that stuff. But so a lot of things go into that. But yeah, words are powerful. But the most powerful words is what you believe and what you say to yourself. But I learned that later in life, later in life. So you think about these kids, a lot of times, some of them are not excuses for everybody, but we believe what people say, even though we know inside of ourselves we're different, but we don't, see different. We don't see. So we begin to do those things and to fall into the words, because life is in those words if we don't know any better.
All right.
And death is in those words that, because we don't know any better. Yeah.
All right. And Pam says, I've known it all along, but I never really paid attention to it until I joined the Army and then became a wife and mother. Yes. All right. Let's see here. Well, let's go to do a exercise real quick here. I think we may pull it in. I really don't. Yeah, we'll pull it in right here if y'all don't mind. Not that I want to. I'm trying to make people want to come back next week. We won't keep them too long.
Pull
But
it
this is
in,
not
pull
the
it in.
exercise I want us to do. All right, using the scale below, how would you rate your current ability to communicate clearly and effectively? Terrible, 1 through 10, 1 being terrible, and 10 being excellent. All right. Who's gonna be first?
I'll go first.
All right.
I say a 7. I give myself a 7 because I think I can communicate effectively, but I need, I'm still in training. I need help. I'm still learning a lot of things, but I would give myself a 7.
Okay. All right. And Minister Talbot?
I give myself immediately it's a 5. Because I'm still learning. Like she said, I'm just in the middle. I mean, I'm a person. You don't have to wonder what I think. Especially if I love you, you're close to me. You don't even have never. But just learning that it's so many different people in the world, just so many different interpretation of what you saying and what you're meaning. And learning your audience, learning we're learning my children and my graduate has been my biggest teachers because both they're all different. So I give myself a 5, and then that's on the low end because I'm hard on myself. But I'm very effective. I say what I mean what I say, da da da. But so I give myself a 5 because I just want to always be.
No. I want you to give what you feel. Can you hear me? She froze. Are you there, Minister?
Yeah, she's frozen.
She would be frozen right now, wouldn't she? Did you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so all right, I gave myself a 5 up until just recently in the last 6 months, maybe 4 months. I bumped myself up to an 8. And the reason being is because once the pandemic hit, well, when we had to close, I had to become very, very effective in communicating. And so I worked on it more than I ever had. Now, regardless of me being in the school and teaching kids, I've always had a good communication level between them, but I had to add more of myself to an online audience. So now I'm right at an 8. Hopefully by the end of the year, I can be 9.5 or 9.5, something like that. So, and Pam is a 7. Too well. Okay. I don't know about that. Pam very, very leaning on this. I think I don't know. I wish Pam was on. I should send you the link to get on here. But anyway, so what we'll do, we'll pause here and we'll come back. For those of you just coming in and coming on, we've been talking about going through Don't Drop the Mic. And this lesson was the gift of speech. I guess we'll come back and finish this lesson because I have some very important points I want to share in this particular lesson. Gosh, man. So I really hate that we didn't finish. Well, thank you, Pam. We did the best we can. So we may have to bring you in the classroom next time. So, but as we leave, want to be mindful that Bishop Jakes did mention to consider the concept of effective communication. We must first think about its ultimate goal. And what do you think the ultimate goal is, Minister Talbot, in 15 seconds? The ultimate goal of effective communication.
To get your point across, and they understand.
Hey.
Everybody understand what you're saying.
Okay. Well, she answered the question, so I ain't gonna answer you. It's understanding, and even the Bible talks about with all of your getting, get understanding. So the answer to opinion, Jake's opinion is to be understood. That's his answer as well. And the goal to communicating is not simply expressing something you believe, and all of us can do that. When we can do that very well, we can express what we believe, whether it's wrong or right. We can express that, and actually, we're doing that. Everybody's doing that, or whether you're expressing if it's valuable to you, because whatever is in you, I hope that you feel like it's valuable to you or important to you. So, no, the goal should ultimately be expressing yourself in a way that leads to understanding, not communicating just because you can open your mouth and words fly out, but you want you want understanding, and how to achieve those particular goals is our objective as we go into the next 12, maybe 13 weeks now, since we're going to have to come back and finish this one up. But we want to be able to take language and understand that language. We're dealing with people that are born in a different area, different state, different country, and so there's various uh, different reasons, or various reasons of why we have to know our language when we're communicating. So, all right. So we'll come back next week and we'll finish this lesson of the gift of speech. That's the first lesson of about 13 that we have. And we'll be back. These women of God will be back with us as well. And let's see here. There was something I wanted to show you guys. Okay. Well, by way of announcement, I wanted to make sure you know that I apologize for Sunday. We're not able to broadcast in the area that we were in. So I just pray that you all be patient with us. We definitely be back Sunday, and tomorrow at 7 o'clock, we're going to have we're talking about what is called the Lord's Prayer, but better known as the model prayer. And Minister Felder will be teaching that particular lesson. And then I'll come back on Wednesday at noon to talk about keeping your guard up for the faith, guarding the faith. And then Thursday, I'll be back at 7 to guard your faith. And then Mr. Talbert will be with us on Friday at 5 to give us some words of inspiration after having perhaps a heavy week. And then Gavin, the maestro, will be back with us at 6 o'clock on Saturday. 6 o'clock on Saturday. So with that said, ladies, you all, this is what we're going to be doing Sunday. We're going to have Granny with us Sunday, talking about keeping that guard up. So, all right, ladies, y'all have a blessed evening, and we'll be talking. All right. Thank you all again.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
You don't have a ton of things in common with God, but there is one thing. You speak.